Now, the controversial film Kashmir Files, directed by Vivek Agnihotri, is once again in the eye of the storm, mocking the BJP over heaping praises for the film. Congress MP Shashi Tharoor quoted a news article that stated that the movie was banned in Singapore. A big showdown has now escalated when the director of the film, Vivek Agnihotri, hit back at the Congress MP, asking him to stop making fun of Kashmiri Pandits. He further said that Tharoor's late wife, Sunanda Pushkar, was indeed a Kashmiri Pandit herself and that he must show some sensitivity towards her and the community. Lead actor of the film, Anupam Kher, has also hit out at Shashi Tharoor over tweet claiming that Tharoor's callousness towards Kashmiri Hindus' genocide was indeed tragic. The film, which released on 11th of March, sparked a massive debate among political parties. Makers of the film have also been accused of playing fast and loose with facts and portraying a villainized image of Indian Muslims.
This is the tweet which is made after the direction of Congress High Command. Because Congress party has hand in gloves with anti-national forces. This Congress leader Shashi Tharoor came in shelter of anti-nationals. This is very unfortunate that Congress party is dancing on the tone of anti-national forces.
Who presents himself as a champion of free speech, freedom of expression, liberal values. But here they are celebrating, quite hypocritically, a ban on a film that has the courage to expose the truth that took place 32 long years ago. There is also competition in this entire ecosystem, be it the Congress party or the Aam Aadmi party, as to who can mock the plight of Kashmiri Hindus more. On one hand, Aam Aadmi party gets up in assembly and mocks them and laughs at their pain. On the other hand, the Congress party is in a celebratory mode when the film is banned in Singapore. The same film has been released in many destinations, many places without any cuts, and it has done spectacularly well in India as well.
Let me quickly cut across to Sunil Ji Bhatt, tracking the story, joining us live for more on that. Sunil, here we're looking at Vivek Agnihotri demanding an apology from Shashi Tharoor for his tweet, calling it callous and disrespectful to his wife Sunanda Pushkar, his late wife, who was also Kashmiri Pandit. What more do we know of this debate and the controversy that's now brewing over this film being banned in Singapore?
Well, Nabila, a massive political war of words has erupted over this issue. On one hand, we have seen that director Vivek Agnihotri and Anupam Kher, who plays an important role in this movie, has also hit out at Congress leader Shashi Tharoor. And on the other hand, we have BJP leaders lashing out at Shashi Tharoor for his insensitive tweet. They have said that the Shashi Tharoor should have been mindful when it came to the plight of Kashmiri Pandits. The BJP leaders have gone on to say that what he has said has the endorsement of the Congress party leadership, and the Congress party must apologize to the Kashmiri Pandits because they have suffered a lot in last 32 years. But Nabila, this can be only viewed as another self-goal by the Congress party. At a time when the Congress party should have been asking questions to the Modi government that what it has done for the displaced Kashmiri Pandits in the last 8 years, it is in a way questioning the movie, because this movie is based on real life incidents. The director may have taken a little bit of artistic liberty in portraying the scenes, but whatever has been shown in the movie are real life incidents. These are not imaginary or fictional stories. The Congress party should have been asking the government about what it has done for the displaced Kashmiri Pandits, what it has done to mitigate their sufferings, but instead it is questioning the movie. So clearly the BJP has got fresh ammunition against the Congress party, and the Congress party is somehow falling into the trap of the saffron party. Nabila.
Well, now, of course, Agnihotri is asking for an apology from Tharoor, but it seems like Tharoor remains adamant on his stance. Never have we seen Shashi Tharoor backtrack on what he said. Any further action as such that Agnihotri plans on taking for this message that he is, of course, not taken well?
Well, Nabila, Congress party, as I said, that many people are saying that what Shashi Tharoor has said is in a way a self-goal. And the Congress party had so many issues that they can raise at this point of time, even regarding the plight of Kashmiri Pandits. But the Congress party is somehow questioning the movie that has been made on the plight of the Kashmiri Pandits. The movie talks about the ethnic cleansing of the Kashmiri Hindus, how they were persecuted by the terrorists. The Congress party instead is questioning the movie when they should have been asking some important questions to the Modi government, and the BJP also is getting some sort of leverage because it can now hide its failures, because the way the Congress party is questioning the movie rather than questioning the government, that what the government has done. The movie has been made, it has raised awareness, it has generated awareness across the country, across the world about the plight of Kashmiri Pandits. But the big question remains, what have the successive governments done for the Kashmiri Pandits, including the Modi government?
Right. Sunil, thank you very much for joining us with those details. In fact, we have some big news following up on this. We're looking at a former Indian Foreign Secretary, Kanwal Sibal, who's tweeted with this regard and said, and I quote, "Decision explains why Singapore not invited to US Democracy Summit. Why applaud this censorship? Does Singapore think Hindus not persecuted in Kashmir? Why should Kashmir specific film impact Singapore? Who will disturb social harmony there? Term ongoing conflict invades issue of Islamist terror in Kashmir." This is a quote that's been put out in a tweet by former Indian Foreign Secretary Kanwal Sibal, tweeting, and I quote, "The decision explains why Singapore not invited to US Democracy Summit." Of course, poking at Singapore banning Kashmir files in the country. Here we're looking at Congress leaders quoting the ban, saying that this is the same film that Singapore has banned but Indian government has endorsed. Now, following up to that, you have former Indian Foreign Secretary Kanwal Sibal tweeting, saying that this decision by Kashmir really explains why Singapore is not invited to US Democracy Summit. Says a lot more to that. Gaurav Sawant joining us for more on that. Gaurav, give us an understanding on what exactly the former Indian Foreign Secretary Kanwal Sibal means while he puts out this tweet condemning Singapore banning Kashmir files.
So this is, in a way, a clash of narratives. You have a former Union Minister of the Congress Party, somebody who served extensively at the United Nations, who's talking about how Singapore has good restrictions on the Kashmir file. And Ambassador Kanwal Sibal, India's former Foreign Secretary, he has responded to it by saying that this decision explains why Singapore was not invited to US Democracy Summit, in a way indicating that Singapore is one-party rule. It's hardly a democracy. That's point one. Point two, he's also asking why applaud this censorship. If India, talks about, being against censorship, then why applaud censorship? And does Singapore think Hindus are not persecuted in Kashmir? Why should a Kashmir-specific film impact Singapore? Who will disturb social harmony there? Term on ongoing conflict actually evades the issue of radical Islamic terror in Jammu and Kashmir. So, in a way, Ambassador Kanwal Sibal, as former Foreign Secretary of India, is giving the Indian narrative on the Kashmir files. Because, Nabila, the fact remains, were Kashmiri Pandits massacred in Kashmir or not? Does the Kashmir file as a movie depict those facts or not? And if it is a depiction of facts, why should that movie be banned is the question that Kanwal Sibal appears to be asking.
All right, Gaurav, thank you very much for joining us with those details. Here's a row over Singapore banning Kashmir files. Congress leaders now quoting the ban, asking if Singapore has banned, why has Indian government endorsed it? Kashmir files makers Vivek Agnihotri now demanding an apology from Shashi Tharoor, calling him insensitive. Now, it's big day for probe into Kashmiri Pandit genocide in the 1990s. The trial into murder of one of the first Kashmiri Pandits to be slaughtered by Islamist terrorists begins today in Srinagar. In fact, Satish Teko was allegedly killed by alleged butcher of Kashmir Valley, Bitta Karate, Farooq Ahmed Dar. Bitta Karate had confessed to mass murder of Kashmiri Hindus right on India Today's interview news track. In fact, the video from India Today's news track will be placed as evidence before a Srinagar court in this case. In fact, the victim's family filed a new application through advocate Utsav Bains and supported by activist Vikas Raina to place on record Bitta Karate's shocking video confession that the first Kashmiri Pandit he murdered was Satish Tiko.
आपने कितने लोगों की जानें ली? यानी आपने इतने सारे लोग मार डाले कि आपको ये भी नहीं याद कि आपने कितने लोग मार डाले?
10-12 हम मारे होंगे।
10-12 की 20?
अब 20 ही मारे।
सारे के सारे कश्मीरी पंडित थे कि कोई मुसलमान भी थे उसमें? कितने मुस्लिम कितने कश्मीरी पंडित थे? ज़्यादा कश्मीरी पंडित थे?
जी।
क्यों? ऐसा क्यों?
ऊपर से ऑर्डर मिलता था मेरे को।
अच्छा, पहला जिस आदमी को पहले आपने जान से मारा वो कौन था?
पहला मर्डर मैंने सतीश को मारा।
सतीश कौन?
सतीश कुमार
टिक्कू कौन था ये?
मुझे ऊपर से मतलब ऑर्डर दिया गया कि उसको हिट करो, मैंने किया।
कौन था ये?
पंडित लड़का।
हमेशा पिस्टल से ही मारते थे या AK-47 से भी मारते थे?
AK-47 से हम सिक्योरिटी वालों पर एक्शन फायरिंग करते थे।
अच्छा, और जब किसी एक आदमी को मारना होता था तो पिस्टल से? तो अकेले जाते थे कि 2-3 आदमी साथ होते थे?
मैक्सिमम मैं अकेला जाता था।
तो नकाब पहनी होती थी आपने?
नकाब के बगैर।
यानी लोग आपको देखते थे कि आप हैं जो जान से मार रहे हैं किसी को?
जी।
लोग पहचानते थे आपको? तो लोगों ने आपको पुलिस के हवाले नहीं किया?
नहीं।
इसका मतलब लोग आपको
लोग साथ देते थे।
अच्छा, कभी ऐसा हुआ कि आपने जिस आदमी को मारना चाहा, आपने कोशिश की लेकिन आप फेल कर गए?
नहीं।
जब भी आपने कोशिश की सफल हुए?
जी, सफल हुए। मैं जिधर निशाना चाहता था लगा उधर बराबर पहुंच जाता।
जब भी आप किसी का मर्डर करते थे तो क्या हमेशा इशफाक मजीद वानी का ऑर्डर होता था तब करते थे या अपनी मर्जी से भी कर सकते थे?
नहीं, अपनी मर्जी से मैं किसी को नहीं मारता था। ऊपर से ऑर्डर मिलता था, लीडर ऑर्डर देते थे कि
अच्छा, ऑर्डर दे किसी को मार दो, आप मार देते थे?
हाँ जी।
चाहे वो कोई भी हो?
कोई भी हो।
अगर वो कहता कि अपने सगे भाई को जान से मार डालो?
जी, मैं तो मार देता।
अगर वो कहता अपनी माँ को जान से मार डालो?
मैं तो मार देता।
तो ये तो गुलामी से भी बदतर हालत हो गई आपकी।
नहीं, गुलामी कहाँ। मैंने कहा ना, पहले हम जब ज्वाइन करता है कोई लड़का, ज्वाइन होने से पहले वो हालत उठवाते हैं, ये काम है जी। अगर नहीं है तो आप जा सकते हैं।